It's dark, it's chilly, it's Friday, it's time to wake up to walk. Morning guys, welcome to DOdaily. Attack the day. It's Des here, out and about on the Robin Hood Way, as per on a Friday morning. Really enjoying it. Mentioned just then that it's really chilly, but having already been up for an hour, about a mile into the walk, really glad I'm doing it. It's probably the best time of year to be out. All of a sudden, everything's got a little bit mystical and magical this morning, and after the shock of getting up so early and the fact it was dark and cold, I said to Kay on the drive up that this is really what it's all about. Wake up to walk. This is my favourite time of the year. You know, you can't knock this. When you get out and about, you remember exactly why you do it. You know, the sun's coming up now, in the distance there. Really nice, but sort of all the colours. You know, got some nice pictures of the sun rising. I'll put them on the end, but when you see them all, like I say, definitely makes you realise why you do it. And whilst I have kind of left the new version of Sherwood Forest behind, which I spent a lot of time walking sort of around the edge of last week, you know, where I'm at the moment, probably reminiscent of Sherwood Forest hundreds of years gone by. You know, the big tall trees. Said a lot about that during this walk. One of the things I've learnt, how good that is for the soul. You know, and like I say, all those things already, you know, the colours, the sunrises, chilliness, the mist this morning. First one, I was walking under it at one point, which was quite eerie, but again, once you've done it, you know, it makes you feel absolutely amazing. And that's how I've been feeling all week this week, isn't it? Really been on top of things, you know, feeling incredible. That's no exaggeration. I tell you when I feel rubbish, I tell you when I'm not quite on my A game. But sort of following on from lots of good things, lots of weeks now of positivity. After a little hiccup sort of during the summer with bad news and one or two things not quite going to plan, I can only look back at the time I've been doing this and be grateful, you know, for what it does for me. If I look back to this time last year, I was in a real predicament with one or two things, me and Kay. Really stressful time. Whilst we're not the most stressful of people, we don't get too stressed. We try and take things in a stride, but of course, I'm not daft enough to say things don't bother us, because they absolutely do. But we find a way, you know, through doing such things as activity. For me, getting up, waking up to walk, you know, to deal with it. And like I say, this time last year was a particularly tough time. So whilst, you know, I quite often talk about pushing on, you know, this is kind of what Friday's about. It's leaving the week behind, you know, leaving whatever's gone, but using the time to think back. I spent the first mile this morning sort of reflecting on that period last year and just kind of realising how far we've come. You know, I won't say we've made it, we don't need to move forward anymore, because we definitely do, you know, but from 12 months ago we've took massive strides in getting to a place where we're a lot more comfortable. Myself and Kay are not particularly materialistic, so we don't need the world, but what we do need is things to improve bit by bit, you know, and just keep enjoying things, you know, and that's all it's about, isn't it? Spoke a lot this week about the Great North Run and enjoying that, you know, and I will shut up about it at some point. Probably next week when I'll be talking about the Robin Hood half marathon. But again, that's all the things we need to sort of make the most of, isn't it? We love running between us, is what brought us together, and we get so much from it. Do you know, it's that gives me confidence, that gives me sort of good feeling and picks me up a lot of the time. But finding something like this too, do you know, where I'm out absolutely on my own. Like I say, sometimes it's a little bit eerie, but it's just fantastic to realise that I'm doing whatever I can to stay on top of all this good feeling, you know. And I keep saying it, but that's definitely what it's about, isn't it? Do you know, getting out in the peace and quiet with all the nature, you know, gives me that chance to properly look back. And that's kind of what I want to sort of hit on today. Whilst I've already said it, I'm always talking about pushing on and not dwelling on things. Do you know, we are actually allowed to look back on things with the excitement that we went into them with. And this just gives me the perfect opportunity. I think the problem lies sometimes with this is we don't actually allow ourselves properly to look back. We've all got busy lives. When we're attacking things during the day, you know, when we've got things to do in the evening and at the weekend, and we kind of flip between sort of then, now and the present, and we don't really give ourselves that proper opportunity. For me, this allows me to take it all in properly, taking the week, taking my surroundings, taking exactly what I want to do next. You know, because again, whilst it's good being spontaneous and attacking things, I find by trying to understand myself a bit more that I flip between spontaneity and routine, but both are absolutely fantastic, and both kind of create a routine, don't they? If we are spontaneous, we tend to do the things we enjoy a lot more, you know, rather than getting bogged down in things that we're not really prepared, ready for, not really willing to do. You know, so what I'm saying, guys, is taking this time, taking this opportunity to really sort of think about what's happened, where I'm at, what I'm doing, you know, is absolutely brilliant. I could forget about that and just think I'm going out for another walk, which I am. You know, the walking side is absolutely amazing. From the start of the Robin Hood Way, which is now about 82 miles ago, I've learned that I need to sort of, even doing this, I need to come to terms with myself, come to terms with the day. You know, at the start I was trying to get straight on the video, talk, say this, that and the other, but the reality is I'm out here for a walk, I'm out here to think. Do you know what? And I love the talking side of it. I love passing on my thoughts and the fact that people can tune in to see where I'm at, sort of mentally, you know, physically at times. You know, I spoke about that a lot. But what I am here to do as well is to absolutely take it all in. And one thing in the last few months I've learned is the importance of nature and what it does. You know, I think I kind of realised that subconsciously when it was just about the running, you know. But I understand that not everybody's wanting to do that, not everybody's capable of doing that. You know, and I'm finding ways to try and help others understand that there's different options, you know. And walking is definitely one of them. Being out, sort of first thing, being in a place which is accessible. You know, this is accessible to me. It's not accessible to everybody. Again, something else I've come to understand. But before the Robin Hood Way, I went to local parks, you know, little village greens, villages, you know, lakes within built up areas, all these kind of little things what are accessible to most. You know, everybody's got something on the doorstep. Despite the fact they build too many houses on greenbelt land, we've still got a lot of it to go around. North Notts is definitely a classic example of that, but like I say, it's everywhere. Do you know, so firstly, really enjoying it. Do you know, really enjoying what's happening and the things I'm doing. Reflecting enough on those to take it forward, do you know, but also pushing forward, pushing on. Do you know, this route's a perfect metaphor now, getting deep into the latter stages. Incidentally, I've just walked a little bit, which in about 25 miles time I'll be walking back down, which was kind of strange. Well, since I've started at Nottingham Castle, I've literally in some shape or form been walking north, you know, and in a few more miles I'll be getting to the most northerly point and heading south again, back to some of the places I were last week. Don't quite know what to expect over the next few miles. Really sort of out of my comfort zone now. We speak about that a lot, don't we? But that's good, you know. Never sort of been in this part of the world sort of on foot, you know, exploring, you know, doing it because I want to. It's really intriguing. Lots of woodland. I've already mentioned the colours, you know, but once I've done the video today, I'll take in even more of it. I'm heading out towards a place called Cresswell Crags. Don't quite get as far as the village itself. That's on the Derbyshire border, kind of heading northwest at the moment, kind of parallel to the A616. It's probably about half a mile that way, just crossed over it. The A616 is essentially the main road from Newark to Sheffield, so anyone that knows the geography might understand where I am a little bit better from that. So sort of walking along that before turning back at Cresswell and crossing over just south of Worksop towards the east again, before dropping down through Clumber Park and to the finish. And kind of, I skipped a little bit there describing where I was, but sort of getting towards the end of these things and getting towards the end of anything, sometimes it can be the toughest bit to actually get over the line. Do you know, and whilst walking's quite easy and this isn't a difficult challenge, do you know, it just made me think that how many times have we been so close and we've not quite seen things through, saw things through. Do you know, been there many times myself, do you know, and that's kind of why I started all this, is to actually sort of start taking things off, to achieving things. You know, there was a point in my life where I knew I was going to do things. You know, it's Robin Hood half marathon next week, as I've mentioned, and I said for years I was going to do that. People probably scoffed at me and thought, he's been saying this for a long time. Rightly so, because I just never got round to it. But then one day, you know, after I'd started running, I found this inner determination to keep going, to keep pushing forward, to keep doing it, you know, getting all the benefits from it, of course, actually realising the good it does. And I signed up for it and I did it. You know, I'd made a promise to a friend lots of years ago, and if I do make a promise, if I make a vow, I do it. Back then I didn't quite do it as soon, as quick. These days I tend to be a lot better, but again, it's just about remembering to finish things off. You know, we can all get a bit complacent of what we enjoy, what we don't enjoy, you know, and think that we've done it now. We've done enough. You know, sometimes we've just done enough. That's, for me these days, that's not really good enough. I don't want to just do enough. I want to do enough and a little bit more. You know, what I've done so far, the 80 odd miles, you know, it's still a trek, still a commitment. Running into 22 weeks. I'm not quite sure where we're at in terms of the number of weeks I've been doing it, but it's still a massive commitment. You know, but why stop now? You know, and without sort of reiterating the message and pushing on too much, we spoke about that a lot recently. You know, it is a case of that, isn't it? And that's definitely what I want to do. Spoke all week about activity and feeling good and feeling great and feeling amazing about all the things, you know. But when I'm here, I'm not quite sure there's much comparable. You know, I'll just show you around me. Look at that for an amazing view. You know, that's looking up north, probably where I'm heading across in a few miles. But honestly, there's nothing quite like this on a Friday morning. You know, I've realised today why I love it again. You know, I realise that every single week. When you get up at 5 o'clock, when it's dark and when it's cold, you know, it seems tough. You think like, why? Why do I do this to myself? I've got tired eyes, but come 11 o'clock, when I've done most of my jobs today, you know, I've been up, put a shift in, you know, I'll be really, really looking forward to the weekend. I'll have a chance to almost kind of completely evaluate what's happened, you know, over the last week in particular, but over the last sort of period of time. I do it every week now, but I use this time, and that's what I'm saying about the message. Actually taking time for yourself to sort of wrap it all up almost. Doesn't mean we have to forget, doesn't mean it won't pop up again, but what it allows us to do is go into everything else realising that if we attack it the same way, we create that little bit of routine, those good habits, you know, we're going to enjoy that too. And that's all I'm trying to do. Trying to enjoy myself, trying to be positive and enthusiastic, you know. I've said a lot recently, amongst all this positivity and enthusiasm, something will crop up and get in the way. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Do you know, one thing I have learned through all this is we'll experience highs and lows. And whilst I can be really sort of full of the highs, you know, I don't tend to get as low as I used to. Do you know, I do when I'm missing activity, when I'm missing the things I do. Just coming up to an interesting monument, be a good place to finish in all reality. I'm not quite sure what it is, so I'll do some reading about it. I'm heading towards Welbeck Abbey now. The part of the world I'm in is called the Dukeries. It's 4 sort of stately homes, so Country Manors, Welbeck Abbey, Thoresby Hall, Clumber Park, and the other one escapes me at the moment. But yeah, like I say, it's just about absolutely loving it. I was saying there about not getting too low. You know, what I have learned is how to deal with it better. And what I've learned is getting out on a Friday morning really, really helps that, you know. So going into the weekend, got a wedding to go to. What a great sort of place to start with my plans with that, you know. Somebody celebrating, looking forward to pushing on in the rest of their life. And then it's not much of everything else I do, you know. It tends to be quite a lot these days, but because it's become habit and routine and I really, really enjoy it, work doesn't feel like work when you actually enjoy it, does it? It's a hobby, it's a passion, it's something I can be really enthusiastic and excited by. So until next week, guys, there was a few messages in there, but like I said, the most important one is to actually use some time to, allow yourself that opportunity to look back. Always wanting to push on, always talking about falling forward now, but that doesn't mean you can't use amazing time like this to be just doing it.